So what Donald Trump has done is he is suing the House Ways and Means Committee, the New York State Attorney General, and the New York Tax Commissioner, and he makes basically two claims. He says, first of all, if your goal is to see how the IRS is auditing his returns, it doesn't do you any good to see his state tax returns, so that's not a legitimate request. And secondly, they say, this is clearly somebody trying to get at Donald Trump for political reasons. This is a state action going after Trump because they don't like his politics, and that violates the First Amendment. So this is a new wrinkle. It's a new lawsuit. It's different than the one that's already in court. This is Trump in his personal capacity, not his official capacity as president, but his personal capacity with his own lawyers suing the state of New York and the House Ways and Means Committee to block the state from giving the committee his state income tax returns.
Well, he might be president now, but this certainly is not out of character for the private citizen Trump that we knew and the lawsuits that he was willing to file before he was in public life. Pete Williams, thank you very much, sir. Really appreciate that. Coming up, an NBC News exclusive, disturbing details from a teen held at a detention center on the U.S.-Mexico border. Plus, the crucial Senate vote to help 9/11 first responders. This picture, making the rounds on Twitter, posted just minutes ago by our roll call photographer. You can see Jon Stewart smiling as Mitch McConnell walks right on by. We're live from Capitol Hill. Coming up next, you're watching MSNBC.
I can't believe it. That Cowboys karaoke machine. No, I can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on my car insurance with Geico. Geico could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
The day after chemo might mean a trip back to the doctor's office, just for a shot. But why go back there when you can stay home? With Neulasta Onpro, strong chemo can put you at risk of serious infection. In a key study, Neulasta reduced the risk of infection from 17% to 1%, a 94% decrease. Neulasta Onpro is designed to deliver Neulasta the day after chemo and is used by most patients today.
Neulasta is for certain cancer patients receiving strong chemotherapy. Do not take Neulasta if you're allergic to it or Neupogen, Filgrastim. An incomplete dose could increase infection risk. Ruptured spleen, sometimes fatal, as well as serious lung problems, allergic reactions, kidney injuries, and capillary leak syndrome have occurred. Report abdominal or shoulder tip pain, trouble breathing, or allergic reactions to your doctor right away. In patients with sickle cell disorders, serious, sometimes fatal crises can occur. The most common side effect is bone and muscle ache.
If you'd rather be home, ask your doctor about Neulasta Onpro. Pay no more than $5 per dose with copay card.
You should be mad at airports. You should be mad at non-seasoned travelers. And you should be mad at people who take unnecessary risks. But you're not mad because you have E-Trade. This tech helps you understand the risk and reward potential on an options trade. It's not liquid orange. And even explore what-if scenarios. Don't get mad. Get E-Trade and start trading today.
Excuse me, Yellow Box.
The name's SquarePants.
With Dish, if you can say the name of your favorite show correctly, SpongeBob SquarePants, then you can watch it anytime with the Dish voice remote.
Is SpongeBob SquarePants on?
Just make sure you say it right. Now, it's easier than ever to watch SpongeBob SquarePants with Dish. Only on Nickelodeon Channel 170.
Anyway, it's my night. Yours for the premiere of the new Epix original series, Pennyworth. The battle begins very soon. Go on, during the Epix sneak preview. I have a job for you.
It's not dangerous, is it?
No. Plus, thousands of hit movies. We got a story for you. That was very good. Join us on Epix sneak preview July 25th to the 28th on Dish. Stream to channels 392 or 382 or watch on demand.
One of the biggest open questions that's still swirling around the Mueller investigation is why so many of President Trump's associates lied about their contacts with the Russians.
I know indictment of the people around the president for collusion.
Why didn't Robert Mueller push for that face-to-face and have the answers that America needs? Why didn't you subpoena President Trump?
The Trump administration has expanded fast-track deportation regulations, which will empower immigration officers to deport migrants without having them appear in front of a judge. As of today, fast-track deportations can apply to anyone who's been in the country illegally for less than 2 years. But the Trump administration is insisting that the measure is necessary to free up government resources. A statement from Acting Homeland Security Director Kevin McAleenan reads in part, quote, "The new designation adds one more tool for DHS to confront the ongoing security and humanitarian crisis on the southwest border and throughout the country. We are past the breaking point and must take all appropriate action to enforce the law." The expansion marks the latest move from the Trump White House to flex its hardline immigration stance as stories emerge from migrants along the U.S. border about inhumane treatment while in U.S. custody. In most cases, we depend on information from immigration lawyers and lawmakers to understand what conditions are like inside these government-run facilities. But NBC's Julia Ainsley recently sat down with someone who himself was held at one of these facilities. Julia, a remarkable interview, remarkable bravery from this 17-year-old boy that you spoke to come forward and tell his story. What did you learn?
Well, you're right. He was very brave. We had a great producer, Didi Martinez, who worked with him and his father to come forward, and it took some time to talk to him because he went through a lot to get here. And what we learned is, first, some things that corroborated what we heard from some of the lawmakers and other reports, that he did not get a shower, that it was very cold, that they kept the lights on, that he was crammed into a cell that was far over capacity. But he also went past that and talked about retaliation from some agents. He talked about, in one case, seeing a boy, 16 years old, be punched in the stomach. That's, of course, something we have taken to DHS. They say that that'll be referred for an investigation. And then also the fact that they had to look out for the younger children because there was so little space in this cell. For the first 48 hours, he stood up, and he would always try to find a way to stand up or even sleep on a pile of trash so that the younger children could lie down. And he also shared his food with them. He said he was often very hungry, but he thought that as an older boy, he could deal with the hunger more than a younger child could. And if the younger children cried, as they often did, the agents would get angry. And so they all felt like it was in their best interest to protect these younger children.
That's really incredibly heartbreaking. How long was he held, and how long did this go on?
So he was there for 11 days. It was from late May to early June, and the length of time any immigrant, regardless of their age, is supposed to be in one of these border stations is 72 hours. And we knew lots of them were being held longer than that because there was such an influx at that time. But I think the key is, you know, the amount of time, the conditions, and he said that he didn't know when he would leave, and he would ask them, you know, what time is it? He didn't even know what time of day it was because the lights were always on, and he was mocked, and an agent said, what, do you have a meeting to go to? So, you know, all this granular detail they were able to get from talking to him really, I think, humanizes this picture even more.
And how many, I mean, from a broad perspective, I mean, how many Abners are there out there?
Well, Jacob Soboroff and I, 2 weeks ago, got a report based on 30 children who had gone through the same facility at the same time. We understand that's the tip of the iceberg. Just for this one facility, there were over 200 reports that they call significant incident reports. When something is a big enough deal that they need to flag it and look into it. Not always clear what happens down the road. But that's just in Yuma. We understand, of course, the Clint facility in the El Paso, Texas sector, and then the Rio Grande sector of Texas. These are other areas that were at or over capacity. And even agents who were doing their best every day could be overwhelmed, and then it seems that it did, you know, can have an effect on your psyche, and a lot of these children were not treated well. One other thing he said, I just failed to mention, was the drinking water. This is something we heard about from people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, how they had poor drinking conditions. He said that he had to use his hands under a sink in order to get water. He's never given a cup in order to drink water.
And his hands weren't clean?
Yeah, because they didn't have soap.
Unbelievable. Julie Ainsley, thank you very much for your reporting on this story. I want to bring in now Democratic Senator Ben Cardin, who visited a migrant detention center in Texas this past Friday. Senator, it's great to have you here. I want to start with this account that Julia has been reporting on, this 17-year-old boy held in Arizona who spoke to us about his experience. Is this something that you have seen as you have gone and looked at these facilities in Texas? I mean, how does it kind of line up with what your experience is in trying to solve this problem?
Well, in McAllen, we saw desperate families that are just trying to find a way of life to stay safe. And yes, the way that they are being detained, they're being detained as criminals. These are families, young children. And the circumstances are not what they should be at all. They should be processed quickly and then released. And there's groups out there that are prepared to make sure that they're in a safe environment. But our immigration people are implementing a policy to basically deny people the ability to make an asylum claim. They're being held in Mexico at great risk for being allowed to come into America. Many have to cross the Rio Grande River itself at great risk. This is not what this country should be about. The Trump policies are aimed at preventing people who are at risk from seeking asylum, and they're doing everything, including detention policies, including denying people the right to make those claims, and changing the rules now to have a deportation without a hearing. All that is an effort to stop the United States being a leader in protecting people who are being persecuted.
Senator, there was an announcement yesterday of a major budget deal among your leaders in Congress, the President of the United States. There have been some of your colleagues who have voiced concerns about whether that bill gives the President too much latitude in dealing with border wall questions and some of these immigration issues that we've been discussing. Are you happy with the deal that's been made, and do you have any concerns on that particular immigration-related front?
I think we're doing the right thing in Congress, but I must tell you, I have no confidence that the President won't ignore Congress and ignore the law and do things that are clearly illegal. We saw that with the declaring an emergency situation to build his wall after Congress said, no, you can't do it. So the appropriation process itself is just getting started. This budget agreement will allow our appropriators to bring out appropriation bills. We anticipate there'll be restrictions on how that money can be used, particularly as it relates to building any type of a wall.
And are you confident that come the fall, when we actually do have to fund the government, that we're not going to see another shutdown around these immigration issues, or is there some anticipation that the President might decide he wants to go that route?
Well, shutdowns never make any sense whatsoever. They hurt taxpayers, they hurt our workforce, they hurt the people of this country that need services. Makes no sense at all. I am confident that the members of Congress do not want to shut down. Am I confident that the President won't lead us in that direction? I have no idea. You never know what President Trump's going to do. He shut down the government for 35 days. That was outrageous. What we need to do is get our work done early, present to him reasonable appropriation bills, and if necessary, we have to take action if the President goes in a different direction to override his concerns.
All right, Senator Ben Cardin of Maryland, thank you very much, sir, for coming on the program today. It's always great to see you. Coming up next, the Senate is voting right now to permanently approve the 9/11 Victims Compensation Fund. We're going to look at why it took so long to secure this help for the heroic first responders. You're watching MSNBC.
Whose interests do they have in mind? The corporations or the voters who put them into that office?
What's the difference between what you're describing and money laundering?
Not a whole heck of a lot. It is one big, giant swamp.
At Arm & Hammer Foot Care, we know that shoes and gear can get smelly. Our Shoe Refresher Spray eliminates odor on contact. So bring on your shoes and gear, and you'll stay fresh with every step. Arm & Hammer Foot Care. Find us in the Foot Care aisle.
Hey, renovators, time to dream bigger. Start your renovation at Wayfair.com.
Booking.com offers free cancellations, so bookers can book now. And as their boss later. Free cancellations. How good is that? Be a booker at Booking.com.
Exploring the heart of historic Europe with Viking, you'll get
including Wi-Fi, cultural enrichment from ship to shore, and engaging excursions. Viking, voted #1 river cruise line by Condé Nast readers. Learn more at vikingrivercruises.com.
Donuts. East-West salad.
Delivery from over 95,000 restaurants nationwide. If you want it all, you can get it all. Grubhub, restaurants you love delivered.
Sure, a resume is a great way to see someone's experience, but you're not hiring a resume, you're hiring a person. That's why Indeed offers tools that help bridge the gap between a candidate and a resume. Like skill tests, which let you actually see a candidate's abilities in action to make sure they're a good fit for the job. It's no wonder Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. See beyond a resume with Indeed. Get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting at Indeed.com/offer.
Have you or a loved one had hernia mesh implanted specifically for hernia repair and had serious complications, including infection, wound reopening, chronic pain, bowel obstruction, or had revision or repair surgery? You may have been a victim of a product that was defectively designed, and you may be entitled to compensation. Hernia repair surgeries are one of the most common surgeries performed in the United States, with over 500,000 surgical procedures annually. Recent studies have found higher levels of hernias reopening when hernia mesh has been implanted. If you or a loved one had hernia mesh implanted specifically for hernia repair and have experienced serious complications, including infection, wound reopening, chronic pain, bowel obstruction, or you later required revision or repair surgery, you may be entitled to compensation. How do you protect your rights and fight for the compensation you deserve? You choose the right legal team that has experience, support staff, and resources to get you the most compensation for your injuries. Call for a free case review.
Yeah.
Right now, the Senate is voting on a bill to permanently authorize a compensation fund to cover medical expenses for first responders who ran into the smoke and debris after the terror attacks of September 11th, 2001. The legislation is expected to pass and be sent to President Trump for his signature. 9/11 first responders, survivors, and their families, as well as members of New York's congressional delegation, are expected to hold a news conference any minute to talk about the vote. The issue returned to the forefront in June after an impassioned House hearing with emotional testimony from former Daily Show host Jon Stewart, as well as a plea from retired New York City police detective Luis Alvarez, who was dying of cancer.
You all said you would never forget. Well, I'm here to make sure that you don't. You made me come down here the day before my 69th round of chemo.
Very good knocking me off.
And I'm going to make sure that you never forget to take care of the 9/11 responders.
Luis Alvarez didn't live to see the bill get final congressional approval. He died on June 29th, just weeks after he testified. NBC's Leanne Caldwell has been following the progress of the bill for us and joins me now from Capitol Hill. Leanne, there has been broad support for this all the way along, but this was really a very emotional debate that really, I think, thrust for a lot of people the ins and outs of the congressional process into a very unflattering light, with a lot of really intense emotion from those affected by it.
Casey, you know full well, being up here day in and day out, that even things that seem really easy to pass are often much more complicated than that. And this bill, what it comes down to, once again, is money. Even though this bill is expected to pass handily, and that it passed with just 12 defections in the House of Representatives a few weeks ago, there were still some protests about this legislation. And they're coming from budget hawks, including Senator Rand Paul, who is saying that he wants an offset. And what that is taking money from another program to actually fund this bill so it doesn't add to the debt or deficit. And here is what Rand Paul had to say about that recently.
As of today, the fund in question has $2 billion in it. And no one is being denied medical care.
So let's have an honest debate. Let's have an honest debate about whether it matters to this country whether we're $22 trillion in debt, and whether or not when we have new spending programs, no matter how charitable, no matter how needed, when we have new spending programs, whether or not we're going to pay for them by reducing spending in wasteful programs.
And Casey, that was part of the problem 5 years ago as well, when the Congress passed just a 5-year extension of this bill. It came down to money. It couldn't pass. But fast forward to now, the public pressure that was put on lawmakers, especially Republicans, to pass this bill was immense. That emotional testimony from Luis Alvarez that you just played a big role in moving public sentiment and moving lawmakers up here on Capitol Hill. And so that Rand Paul argument, they just voted in the Senate on that argument, on an amendment by the senator, and that failed. And now, as we all can see, the Senate is voting on final passage. It is expected to pass, but just the culmination of events and the timing is meaning good news for these survivors and these victims who don't have to worry anymore for the entirety of their lives for this victims compensation fund is going to help support them, Casey.
That really is, I think, one of the most important aspects of this story, Leanne, is that Jon Stewart and this very public pressure and the emotional testimony that he contributed to, it did actually change the game in terms of whether or not they could do this for the lifetime of these survivors. And frankly,
How much longer do you want to be?
What's it? Not like 10 minutes. I'm not gonna keep, I'm not gonna make.
Alright, that's all right, that's all right.
No, I'm not gonna make people wait. I just started.
That's all right, I just want to make sure everyone.
Almost started
What do
on
we
it.
know about when the president's expected to sign the bill?
So Casey, it could be very soon, possibly before the end of this week. The president has indicated that he does support this, and so I don't think a lot of time is going to be wasted before he signs it, Casey.
All right, Leanne Caldwell,
Thank you
thank you very much, my friend. Always great to see you.
Alright,
We're keeping our eye on that Senate and we're going to bring the news of its passage as we get it. But coming up, a new man in charge, the UK's next Prime Minister, his hard and fast deadline to get his country out of the EU, and why Boris Johnson is already being compared to President Trump. You're watching MSNBC.
It's big ways and in small. Bank of America is here to help you get things done. What would you like the power to do?
Nope. What am I gonna look out?
With the Grubhub delivery app, if you want it all, you can get it all at Grubhub. Restaurants you love delivered.
I heard you the first time. I just wanted to hear it again.
Now available at Walmart.com. World-class rechargeable hearing aid for hundreds, not thousands of dollars, including our new app-controlled hearing aid that gives you full control of your sound environment. Try them in the comfort of your home for 60 days. Our full lineup available with free 2-day shipping now at Walmart.com.
Hearing assist will change your life. Hi folks, I'm Matt McCoy. For people as experienced as you and me, careful driving just comes natural. All that experience should be worth something. And it is. With the AARP Auto Insurance Program from the Hartford, switching saved me hundreds. In fact, many drivers age 50 and over save hundreds when they switch.
With the Hartford, not only did I get a better policy and better coverage, but I got a better rate as well. So stay safe.
4 out of 5 AARP members who switched to the Hartford from companies like Allstate, State Farm, and Geico got a lower rate with the Hartford. Not an AARP member? The Hartford can help you join in minutes.
Proud Hartford. You don't? You're missing out.
For a free, no obligation quote and see how much you could save. Call the Hartford at 1-800-684-6033 or go to gohartfordauto.com. The Bucks got your back.
Amidst a world of brilliant turquoise, there's an exotic
exotic new place in the Bahamas, where green holes don't blue holes, where every carefree pleasure is absolutely free, where time is forgotten and love is remembered. Sandals Emerald Bay, the ultimate golf and spa resort in Great Exuma, Bahamas. Close to home, even closer to heaven. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
I'm not ready to lose my hair. Not now. But I never thought there was a real solution. Now I use Keeps, the easiest way to keep my hair. And I can get my treatment without leaving the couch. Go to Keeps.com to learn more.
Hey, who are you?
I'm Jeff. I'm a car thief.
What?
I'm here to steal your car because, well, that's my job.
What?
What? What? What? What? What?
It happens.
Hey, you got company car insurance? Paid for this? You feel like getting robbed twice.
Look at all this. You better protect it from me. Like me.
President Trump is offering his congratulations to Britain's incoming Prime Minister.
We have a really good man is going to be the Prime Minister of the UK now, Boris Johnson. Good man. He's tough and he's smart. They're saying Britain Trump. They call him Britain Trump, and people are saying that's a good thing. They like me over there. That's what they wanted. That's what they need. That's what they need. He'll get it done. Boris is good. He's going to do a good job.
Britain's Conservative Party announced today that Johnson will replace Theresa May. May announced her resignation last month after Parliament repeatedly rejected her Brexit deal. Johnson officially takes office tomorrow and has promised to lead Britain out of the European Union by the end of October.
We're going to get Brexit done on October 31st. We're going to take advantage of all the opportunities that it will bring in a new spirit of can-do. And we're once again going to believe in ourselves and what we can achieve. Like some slumbering giants, we're going to rise and ping off the gyrates of self-doubt and negativity.
NBC News chief global correspondent Bill Neely joins us now from London. Bill, I hardly know where to start with Boris Johnson. I was there in 2012 when Mitt Romney was in London, and he was the mayor of London at the time, and we remember quite a few colorful moments from him. I'm interested in your take on Johnson, the personality, and how that's going to affect the UK, but also, what evidence do we have that Johnson can succeed where Theresa May failed in actually solving this Brexit problem?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Casey. To call him colourful, that's an understatement. And like Donald Trump, he's liked and loathed here in almost equal measure. He's widely disliked, for example, in Scotland, where he's seen as an English nationalist, and in some cities like Liverpool, where he's seen as, frankly, a liar and a snob. But large parts of Middle England absolutely love him. And like Trump in the US, he is, of course, now the leader of the whole country, and he has a job to try to unite it. Now, with an issue like Brexit, that's really tough. Brexit is deeply divisive, and Johnson is like Trump in so many ways, so that'll be tough too. He's not just blonde and brash, he's an unpredictable maverick. Like Trump, he's a populist. He's used anti-immigrant rhetoric. He twists the truth. He's built a career or two on, well, quite frankly, lying. And his personal life is complicated. But look, all of those similarities doesn't mean that he'll get on with Trump, although the president, as you said, did praise him today. He's great, he's smart, and he's tough. Nor does it mean that British people will warm to him, as an eccentric, scruffy, the guy who puts his fingers through his hair. He's going to be much more than that. This is a really difficult time. It's a divided country, and Brexit, never mind Iran, Brexit is a really difficult issue.
So what's the first step for Boris Johnson after he formally takes office tomorrow? What are we going to see from him as his tenure unfolds?
Well, I think the number one priority is Brexit, is getting Britain out of the European Union, and he has said he's prepared to gamble on crashing out. Now, does he mean that, or is it a negotiating position, or just another one of Boris's half-truths? He has said that do or die, by November, he will get Britain out of the European Union. So he set a very high bar for himself, and he has to deliver. But one thing is clear, Casey, yes, Britain has a new Prime Minister from tomorrow, but it doesn't have a new set of politics or a new set of realities, and the realities are exactly the same for Johnson as they were for Theresa May. In fact, you know, but in many ways they're worse. The European Union has said it will not renegotiate the divorce deal. So Johnson has an option either to try to get them to do that, and they say they won't, or to crash out. So his options, not good ones.
That's an understatement. Bill Neely, you're going to have quite a political story in front of you for the next couple months. Thank you very much, sir, as always. Breaking news here, the 9/11 Victims Compensation Fund bill has passed the Senate, 97-2. It now heads to the president's desk, and it's expected to be signed on Friday. So after all of this waiting, all of this political negotiation, these heroic first responders finally have what they need from their lawmakers. It is long overdue. Plus, after more than 200 days, the Pentagon has a new leader. Mark Esper's first big task in a department with plenty of open jobs. You're watching MSNBC.
Sit down, lift up, sit down, sit down, lift up. If you do anything with regularity, you should get massaged with regularity. Get a free 60-minute session. Join today. Massage Envy. Keep your body working.
If you have postmenopausal osteoporosis and a high risk for fracture, now might not be the best time to ask yourself, are my bones strong? Life's full of make or break moments. That's why it's so important to help reduce your risk of fracture with Prolia. Only Prolia is proven to help strengthen and protect bones from fracture with one shot every 6 months.
Do not take Prolia if you have low blood calcium, are pregnant, are allergic to it, or take Xgeva. Serious allergic reactions like low blood pressure, trouble breathing, throat tightness, fits, lip or tongue swelling, rash, itching, or hives have happened. Tell your doctor about dental problems, as severe jawbone problems may happen, or new or unusual pain in your hip, groin, or thigh, as unusual thigh bone fractures have occurred. Speak to your doctor before stopping Prolia, as spine and other bone fractures have occurred. Prolia can cause serious side effects, like low blood calcium, serious infections, which could need hospitalization, skin problems, and severe bone, joint, or muscle pain.
Are you ready? Ask your doctor how Prolia can help strengthen your bones.
Hi, I'm Joan London. When my mother began forgetting things, we didn't know where to turn for more information. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. We have local senior living advisors who can answer your questions about dementia or memory care, and if necessary, help you find the right place for your mom or dad. We all want what is best for our parents, so call today. A Place for Mom. Together, we'll make the right choice.
Instead of going to school every morning, what if school could come to you? Because learning happens anywhere and everywhere. K-12 powered schools provide a tuition-free, full-time, online public school education.
It's public school at home.
Visit K12.com to learn more.
My students are ready to accept the challenge, and they get all the attention that they deserve.
Students benefit from personalized support from state-certified teachers.
That, to me, is like a huge support for me.
Honestly, she's just happier.
I can have more time with my family and do gymnastics.
K-12's curriculum is designed to engage students, to challenge them, and it's tuition-free.
It's been a huge change in her life and ours.
So visit K12.com today and join the over 1 million K-12 students who have chosen public school at home. Tuition-free and available in most states.
Donuts, sweet salad.
Delivered from over 95,000 restaurants nationwide. If you want it all, you can get it all. Grubhub. Restaurants you love delivered.
Oh my, this Heinz mayonnaise is so creamy, one day it'll tell your grandkids. And they'll say, Grandpa, just tell us about Humpty Dumpty. And you'll say, he broke his pelvis or whatever. Now back to my creamy Heinz mayonnaise. Heinz mayonnaise, unforgettably creamy.
Good evening, everyone. Breaking news tonight.
Lester Holt.
Sounds like a shadow play out there, but that is fire.
Most trusted TV news anchor in America.
That's nightly news. I'm Lester Holt.
More Americans watch NBC News than any other news organization in the world.
The Senate has confirmed Army veteran and former defense industry lobbyist Mark Esper as the U.S. Secretary of Defense by an overwhelming margin of 98. This ends the longest period the Pentagon has gone without a confirmed leader. Joining me now, NBC News correspondent Courtney Cubey. Courtney, good to see you. Esper had pretty overwhelming support here, and this sort of concludes a pretty remarkable era for the Pentagon. What's your take on his approval here and what it means going forward?